No, I'm Bud. She's a little confused every once in a while. Hi, y'all. I'm Bud Smith, and I am an alcoholic. Hey, through the grace of God and you people in 12 steps, I ain't had to take a drink all day today. I'm talking about all day long. You know, this is a program of attraction, followed by a brief infomercial on Alcoholics Anonymous. I am so grateful to be here. I thank y'all. I thank the committee, whoever makes the choices. It's a wonderful experience to be able to come and try to share my experience, strength, and hope. You know, I ain't had to take a drink since December 27th of 1991. And that is truly, you can kind of tell by looking at me that that's through the grace of God, because it ain't about nothing I've done except participate. Show up and participate. You know, I love this program. I love the people in this program. I really don't know how to express. I've been trying to figure that out for a long time now, how to express just how much this program means to me and what it can do for others. You know, can you hear me all right? Yep. Can you hear me now? Yeah. I had directions to speak louder. But, you know, my story, to share my experience, my strength, and my hope. That's my job. That's all I'm capable of. That's all I'm qualified to do. You know, I've got a lot of opinions, but they don't count for much. But I started out life at an early age. I was born in Brownfield. You ever been to Brownfield? And shortly after that, we moved to Edge, New Mexico, out on the state line. And my mother and biological father got a divorce when I was, I guess I was 9 months old, under a year anyhow. And so we went to live with my grandparents. And of course, we went to the Baptist church, the fundamental, you know. Mm-hmm. We were good Baptists. And I was trying to remember, you know, I'd always heard that it'd go to hell if I drank. You know. And when my mother married my stepfather, when I was 5 years old, we lived on Highway 114. You know, you go down here and you make a right. And you go all the way till it quits. And but that highway led right straight to that little bar over in New Mexico called the Bloated Goat. Any of y'all remember the Bloated Goat? Well, I can remember the first beer I had. I was on my bicycle and I found it in the bar ditch. And best I could tell, it's probably one of us trying to quit. I'm not going to drink anymore, but you know, I found me that Coors, and I'd seen the commercials on TV. You know, Hams would lend the sky blue water. I knew it was supposed to be cold, so I took it out to the cow tank where the windmill run out in the cow tank, because that old water cold out there. Comes out of the ground about 55 degrees, and I put it in that cow tank. I snuck back in the house and stole one of my mama's, well, yeah, we used to call them church keys. That was back before the handy dandy pop tops come along. And I remember, you know, that thing had to be in water at least 2 or 3 minutes time I got back out there. and you know, that little old rebel in me says, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. I'm gonna test it, because they told me all that stuff but I remember standing out there by the barn in the cow lot, opening that beer. I can still remember the smell. And I drank that beer. I was already willing to compromise myself. I was real uncomfortable with the way I felt, and I thought that might do it. And sure enough, I drank that beer and nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. Except that little thought. They lied to me. They may have lied to me. I might not go blind either. But I know that, it rocked along for years. But I can remember my brother was the magnificent. My older brother was the hero child, and I was the lost child, and all the whatever kind of psychobabble you can put on that. But he was a football hero. He was 21 months older than me, and when he was a freshman in high school and I was in the 8th grade, he outweighed me by 80 pounds. When I got my first driver's license, I was 5'3" and weighed 105 pounds. Killer. Killer. But December the 21st of 1964, the football boys had got their letter jackets, which had the Christmas assembly. And, of course, they presented their nice leather jackets and all of that. And for some reason, I got to go with the big boys. I got to go with my brother and 2 of his friends. And we went to the Bloated Goat. And we got beer, and we got gin, and we got drunk. The night it worked. That magic moment where I was just as big as they were, and I was just as mean as they were. And here we go. Well, to make a real long story, not quite so long, the next morning I woke up, I had 2 black eyes, a broke nose, all my body functions had released, I had blacked out. I was a blackout drinker from the start. I heard a little gal talk one time. She said, remember, I'm a blackout drinker, and most of my story is hearsay. Well, yeah, I remember. Asking my friends how much fun we had last night. That situation. I thought that was the whole point. When I couldn't find that ease and comfort for those years, but blacking out would do it for me. I woke up on more oil field locations and not know where I'm at. I'd come to Lubbock Honky Tonk and old Red Raider Club when it was open, the Saddle Bronc, and those fine watering holes. But I digress. I thought, seeing as how my biological father had left, and I wasn't going to be like that. I had no idea what alcoholics were at that time. But, I thought when I married my first wife, I'm gonna do all the things that man didn't. Coming from a small town like Morton, Texas. I'd moved to town, got me a job in town, and had become the service manager at the Goodyear dealership. Had that job for 11 years. But I was going to leave it to Beaver. Fathers know best. That's the kind of life I was going to lead. You know, after all, I'd already established that I couldn't trust that church. But I had all the faith in television that deal would work. You know, by this time, you know, I'd had my brief college career at Southlands College, very brief. And, well, hell, they wanted me to go to class. I just, you know, I don't follow directions well. But I went to college and fell in lust, and had married my first wife at that time, and which we had a child. Speaking of that, how many people were in Lubbock, Texas, May the 11th of 1970? I was in Lubbock, Texas, May the 11th of 1970. Guess where I was at? J.C. Roberts Liquor Store. We were there when the tornado hit. And as a matter of fact, my wife went into labor with our first child that night. And he was, who coincidentally is in the program now. He just celebrated 7 years. 8 years. This is 2018, and yeah, he celebrated it. And I love it. I love it. But I thought, you know, the family would do it. But it didn't. Well, I want everything to be all right, so I joined everything with a name on it. You know, I joined the fire department, became an EMT, certified EMT, ambulance driving fool. Well, the fool part's correct. But I was in the Texas JCs. I became a district director, state officer in the Texas JCs. I thought, you know, that's going to fix it. That's going to fix whatever's not right with me. If I got involved in all of this stuff, surely looking for that outside fix. If I gathered all this stuff up, you know, but didn't work. It absolutely didn't work. And you know, I promised them I wouldn't stay drunk too long this morning. It's what Mo's sponsor told me one time. He said, "Bud, when you get up and talk, don't stay drunk too long." I said, "We're talking about recovery." I said, "Okay." But like Jenny was talking, you know, I'd been married 18 years, had 3 kids. She'd been married 18 years and had 3 kids. And man, when we met, it was nirvana. We had reached we could dance. Oh man, we wore out more hardwood floor all over eastern New Mexico. And we had this perfect relationship. And then, like I said, you'd seen it on TV, the Brady Bunch. We're going to have the Brady Bunch. We're going to combine our families. And it was pandalarium. I mean, you know, we'd have a daily Mississippi meltdown. You know, something was going on, and I had either 4 or 5 teenagers, depending on the day, in the house, and stepbrother, stepsister, you know, it was just chaos, total. And I was drinking. That's where I absolutely, you know, that first wife, she got her master's degree in accounting from Texas Tech University and got her CPA and got the divorce about the same time. I mean, it was like within a day or two of each other. She said, "I'm out of here." And I was rather irritated, as an alcoholic gets. I just matter in hell, actually. But like I said, then I met Judy, and you know, this is the cure. This is the fix for can't possibly be my drinking because I'm a good old boy. You know, I'm a happy drunk. You know, don't fuss or fight. You just get drunk and pass out. I didn't have a problem. But you know, it did. It got pretty crazy, insane. I had one of my non-violent moments one night. I got home and Judy was gone. And I piled all her clothes in the front yard, got a 5-gallon can of gas. Ain't nothing crazy about that, is it? Doesn't everybody do that? When I'm not getting my way, I have a tendency to force issues. But needless to say, I had to, well, Judy kicked me out of the house. I'd kick me out. The dog would kick me out. It's been about a year, just revolving door. And but in the summer of '91, well, in February of that year, I was relegated. You know, I'd lost my house in Morton, the property and the job and everything, and I was living in a 1967 Ford Fairlane 500. I was not homeless. The bedroom in the back seat, closet in the trunk. And my boys thought that was the coolest thing because, you know, every other weekend, and maybe every weekend, I'd go pick them up in my house. And we were free and independent. You know. Everything was absolutely in control. And, you know, Judy had found her way into the program. And I wanted to try that reconciliation one more time. So I run off to Amarillo. She was staying at her parents' house in Amarillo. I'm 41 years old. I'm parked across the highway from her parents' house. I'm sneaking up in the yard and I'm knocking on the window of her bedroom. You know, there's nothing insane about that. Sneaking out of your parents' house at 41? Nah. But I was introduced at the Hobbs Plaza Group in Amarillo, Texas. I've still got that desire chip that her ex-boyfriend gave me. And don't worry about it, because I love him just as much as she does. They call him Bear. He's a big old boy. Oh, God. But I came in and I got 127 days of clean time. You know, maybe I'm not an alcoholic. But you know, one of the first things I heard when I got in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous was I got to change my playmates, my playpens, and my playthings. And I said, no. Now that's crazy. Because them old boys I drank with them since we started first grade together. I can't give up my friends. I mean, it's bad enough I'm giving up alcohol. Isn't that enough? So I hung out with these old boys, and we went down to Terralingua, Texas, to the World Championship Chili Cook-Off. 15,000 certified drunks. And I'm going to stay sober. That wasn't the first time I ever lied to myself. But, you know, they held it out. I took it. Not too bad. It's going to be all right. I can control my drinking. And that lasted about 2 weeks. And then that little blip in the big book comes back. I might allude to the 12 steps occasionally. But it said, it gets worse, never better. Well, it got worse real quick. I was drinking again, doing side dishes, outside issues, as some people call them, and it was getting really, really bad. But I was sitting on this old couch. I finally got this shack to live in. It had most of the windows in it, and I had gone to pick up my son, my youngest son, for Christmas. And he just happened to live in Levelland, close to the beer store, Wayne Bowes. And I had to go to the beer store. And I picked my son up, and we headed back to good old Morton. And that moment of clarity comes in that I absolutely cannot let this boy see me. He'd seen me drink all his life. But I couldn't, something was different. And I took him by my parents' house, dumped him out in the front yard, and drove off. And that look on his face told me that I had become that father that I was never going to be like. I had abandoned my child, but I went to that shack, and I drank all I could physically hold. Pass out was my game, and I couldn't get there because that little 12-year-old scared child inside of me that I was trying to escape from was still there. Still, I couldn't go on living like that. And I'm trying to figure out how to ventilate my brain cavity because, I'd made a total wreck of my life. I'd alienated myself to AA. I'd alienated to my family. The state of Texas had a little issue with me. And, well, they did. They don't like you driving and drunken. So, sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous come by my house and said, I'm going to a meeting. Would you like to go? And like I said, I only had one other thing to do. They didn't say you ought to go, you need to go, you should go, you better go. Wasn't none of that. Would you like to go? And there's something that I'd gotten that first time I came in, that little ray of hope. That, this is the last house on the block. But we showed up at a meeting in Littlefield, Texas. And I don't know how many of y'all remember Miss Marguerite. I walked in and she said, I'm so glad to see you. And she hugged me. And I will never forget that. That y'all took me back in. You didn't ask me where I'd been or what I'd done or who I'd done it with or none of that inquisition of character. I said, we're glad to see you're back. And so I went to a meeting the next night in Levelland. And that's what I declare as my dry date, December the 27th. And then I got the last person in the room that I wanted to be my sponsor, Bubba. Bubba R. And he said, you bet I'll sponsor you, but you've got just one thing. I said, what? He said, you've got to participate in your own recovery. Damn, what an order. I can't go through with it. But Bubba would haul me to meetings, and he'd say, be at the house at 6 o'clock. said, well, the meeting doesn't start till 8. I said, be at the house at 6 o'clock. I'd go to his house. We'd get in his wonderful little old 230,000 mile Cutlass Oldsmobile. Don't laugh. It was spiritual because you prayed all the way where you were going. That you were riding with Bubba in that car. And I come to believe that there was a power greater than ourselves that would get us to those meetings. But we'd load up. When we got outside of town, I said, where are we going? He said, well, we're going to Lamesa. We're going to Midland, or we're going to Amarillo, or Hobbs, or Clover. We're going somewhere. Lubbock. We came to Lubbock a lot. I remember the first night I spoke at any kind of gathering from the podium. We were headed over here toward Lubbock. And I'd learned to not ask too many questions. And but we got about Smire, and I said, well, which group we going to? He said, we're going to Lubbock group. I said, oh, okay. I said, what kind of meeting is it? He said, it's a speakers meeting. I said, oh, good. I like speakers meeting. Like I said, I'm 9 months sober. And I said, we're riding along. I said, well, who's speaking? He said, you are. Said, oh, dear. But that's the way he worked. It's the way he still works, and I still love him. 26 years later, I'm still in contact with him. Love him. He spoke at the Capright convention last summer. I got to be here. And that's when we were in transition. But he was cruel and unusual. He'd hurt. He would hurt my feelings. I went to a meeting one night, and he said, well, you know the difference between you and a little puppy dog? And I said, no, what? He said, that puppy will eventually grow up and quit whining. Bubba. But I was talking about the 4-step. I said, man, I think I can work that searching, but that fearless part of that, I don't know if I can do that. And he said, don't worry about it. And of course, you got to remember, I'm a special alcoholic. I said, man, maybe I drew a bye on this one, He said, don't worry about that 4-step. You ain't worked the 3rd step yet. And guess what? He took me in that old back room over there in Level Land. We got down on our knees and we did that 3rd step prayer. And I'm an alcoholic. I like it bigger, better, louder, whatever. Nothing happens. I want the burning bush. I want the pavah. I want the lights and the fireworks. I'm saved, this kind of thing. And nothing happened except that one little thing, that place inside of me. He cared enough about me to do that with me. There's people that actually care about other people. My life changed. That 5th step, I did that 4th step and had an assignment on that 4th step to write a letter to that father that I'd never known. I said, well, I couldn't figure out how you could have a resentment against somebody you'd never met. I'd never seen him, he just he was gone. But I had an assignment. We were fixing our kids is what we were doing. We were going to family counseling. And that counselor gave me that assignment to write a letter to that father that I'd never known. I said, I kept putting it off. And he said, next Wednesday, I want you to have that letter written. And I'm good at procrastinating. Well, I don't procrastinate. I just put it off as long as I absolutely do. But one night I got in there at the dining room table, and I sat down and I put pen to paper, and it wound up being 21 pages long. But I could see how that resentment had caused me to do all those things, that all that want to be somebody. I want to be special. And that reality sets in that I'm just no garden variety alcoholic. When I surrendered to that, when I could do that next right step, making amends to my oldest son, I came to the reality that I could not remember one time in my life, not one time I ever made a decision that there wasn't a motive behind it. I'm a bottom line kind of guy. I want to know what I'm going to get out of this deal. That's why I had so much hell with the steps. Because I wanted, it's got to be pragmatic. It's got to be, I got to know how this is going to work. When I work that first step, I want to know what's going to happen on the other end of it. The second, and when I got to that surrender point in my life, when I could just say, okay, God, I'm going to turn this over to you. That third step that Bubba took me back to come to play one more time. Now what? Now what? We're going to work with others. Kind of like the book says. I believe the other part of the book. If you ain't thoroughly convinced that you're an alcoholic, step out and try a little controlled drinking. Well, I understood that. I'd research that deal. But why in the hell am I going to try to help another alcoholic? I mean, I'm clean and sober now. I don't have to. But little did I realize the blessing that we get from that. You get to see people, the lights come on, their families come back together. They say, come all the way in and sit all the way down. Get in the middle of the boat. What all those little cliches we used to. But I've been so blessed. Like making amends. That first wife, the one that I wasn't really all that mad at. Our youngest son went to treatment for oppositional combative behavior out here at that Canyons Lake thing out here. Spent 147 days in treatment for his. Well, he didn't really have a problem, but he was just a little angry, and if he didn't like what you said, he'd just whoop the shit out of you. But wasn't any problem for him because he was tough. I had raised a pretty tough son. But we were still having trouble with him after he got out of treatment. I went over there, they called, and we'd set down the rules, and we'd done all of that. But I walked in that house, and there she was, and there he was, and here I is. And I'm sitting there, and I prayed right when I got out of the pickup. I prayed when I stepped up on the sidewalk. I said, okay, God, this is your deal. And he was going on, he was doing that deal, F you. And I said, wait. Once again, the light come on, and I realized that woman was extremely intelligent because she had an exit strategy. When she got her degree, she couldn't live with an alcoholic like me. I couldn't live with an alcoholic like me. That's why I drank. I absolutely could not live with myself. She had her way out, and my way like to kill me. But she did. But today we have a wonderful relationship. You know, we trade pictures of the grandbabies and the whole. We went to class reunion together, and we all had our pictures made together. But it's a great way to live. And those kids, all our kids are alive and well, and you know, we've got 6 kids collectively. And got, I don't know how many grandkids now, 9? Yeah. But to be able to do that and to be able to experience life and living, I got to do some things I never thought I'd get to do. We moved to Whitney. We started a little old cowboy church down there at Whitney. And I thought it was going to be a handful of some of the boys like me that didn't quite fit. You know, we don't fit in the high street church, you know. It's a little rough around the edges. But I had learned to play the music. I worked real hard to learn to play the guitar. Oh, I love to hear a live band. And we started a little band down there. We called ourselves, all 4 of us were in the program, we called ourselves the Step Brothers. You know, and we practiced on the nights that we didn't have meetings. So we had twice a week, and we'd have a meeting before we started our practice. So it was all recovery related, homegrown songs that we'd written ourselves about recovery. You know, how can I live in the present if I keep hanging on to the past? Somebody kindly tell me how long this is going to last. But the way it turned out, I got to play in this band at the church, and for 13 years. And our lead guitar player was part of the Ace and the Whole band, George Strait's Ace and the Whole band. And wonderful, wonderful gentleman. He taught me more about music. He also gave me a hand on faith. And, you know, if I was playing with George Strait, you couldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole. But I did. I got invited to go play with that band one time, and got to play the Petroleum Club in Dallas. Got to play Jerusalem on the Brazos down at Baylor University. And it's amazing that it's a God deal. It's not me. You know, I ain't all of that in the bag of chips. It's being able to participate in here, in these rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, so I can go out there and deal with civilians. And, to be able to relate to people. And a year and I got diagnosed with this in 2011, put me in this chair. And what am I going to do? You know, I did the old usual thing. I sat on the pity pot till I got a red ring around my neck. And I'm a good AA'er, you know. You know, I've got a good support system. I've got good friends in AA, and if not for them, I don't know where I would have been. I absolutely don't know, but they would help. You know, they all gathered up, all those friends gathered up and built ramps on our house down there so I could get my chair in and out. And then the year before last, I got diagnosed with cancer. And it's good. Ain't that? I got so tickled when Judy and I went into the doctor, and we're sitting in the room. The doctor says, "Okay, it's the diagnosis. You got it. You got it." But see, if I hadn't had this other disease, I wouldn't have never gone to the doctor. But they caught it early, and I remember I looked at Judy and I said, "Well, I wonder how God's going to take care of this." You know, because I've seen him work so many times in my life. That little speaker last year at Caprock, you know, she said, "The God of my experience." You know, when it goes beyond just belief. When I hung around long enough, I see God work in my life on a daily basis. When you know that God is working. You know, and this deal with Judy, I made a bunch of good friends out at UMC yesterday. You know, you spend 8 hours out there wandering around playing my harmonica, and, you know, just being me. I love being able to be me. I love being able to and little kids, that music. If you want to relate to little kids, play music for them. We were standing in the HEB in Waco, Texas, the year before last, right before Christmas. There was the cutest two little twin girls in the basket ahead of us, and I pulled out my harmonica and I played. I asked him, I said, "You know this song?" And I started playing Jingle Bells. The third note, they were with me. Their little old eyes lit up, and it was me and them in that moment living. You know, that's what Alcoholics Anonymous gives me, is life. It lets me participate. It lets me, I don't have to hide my light under a bushel. I ain't scared. I really ain't. That amazes me. Because fear ate my life up all those years. And it's working with other alcoholics. It's working those 12 steps. Practicing those principles in all my affairs. All of them. In here, out there. You know, my older brother that I had so much trouble with, I'm in love with him today. He calls me up and he said, "I thought I'd just check on you." They even built a wheelchair ramp on the back of their house so we could get in. And I mean, me and him. And I couldn't have fixed that. I couldn't have fixed that. It's God working in my life. The 12 steps showing me that God's working in my life. It's me participating, being happy. Judy was working with this young lady down at Whitney. She'd come in. I'd come in from work. And this little gal would be laying in the floor, kicking and crying and going through whatever she was going through. And I'd walk by and I'd say, "Hey, hi, Andy Joe, how you doing?" And go on about my business. You know, I'd get out of the way. And I come in one day and she said, "Bud, nobody can be that damn happy all the time." And I got feeling guilty about being happy. You know, I got to do the 10th step on this. You know, I got to inventory this out and why am I so happy? But as all great alcoholics do, I finally had an epiphany. You know, we have epiphanies. I was coming home from work one day and it dawned on me that I'm maybe, I'm just not smart enough to be miserable anymore. I don't have to have it all figured out. I pray to work that way with the steps. Work the steps, let God take care of the results. That seemed like an awful hard thing to do until I figured out it was happening. It had already happened. That all of my brilliant thinking, you know, that committee that gets together up there, and had nobody up in Colorado, Chuck Pyle, who's known as the Zen Cowboy. He went to the big meeting a couple of years ago, but he said, "You know, my mind is like that. The news on TV." He said, "When I'm talking to you," he said, "I got that picture of you, but then I got that little reader board coming along the bottom of it. You know, all these other thoughts that I'm gonna." You know, and I could relate to that. I could relate to that. But most of all, you know, I don't have a lot of wisdom, but I got a lot of heart. That God gave me that heart back to be with y'all, to help somebody else get sober, You know, we don't have to do that ever again if we don't want to. All you gotta do is have that want to. You know, I want to stay sober. Because my life is over the circumstances. You know, I used to be under the circumstances. Old Stan House used to tell me, he said, I'm over the circumstances. Well, I used to be under them, but I'm over them now. We had beautiful mentors that had taught us how to live. You know, it's a design for living that really works. It takes those 12 steps. And it takes me talking to you and being of service. This is a wonderful, wonderful, thank y'all so much for inviting me. Y'all don't know how much a blessing it is for me. Because I don't have any trouble talking. I have a little trouble getting it right usually. But I want you to know I'm one of the biggest cheerleaders of Alcoholics Anonymous you'll ever find. Because I can remember sitting on that old couch wanting to splatter the gray matter. And I owe my life to this program, you people, and a God that I can talk to and love, and just, he'll usually say, oh no, not again. Your answer, you pray, you get an answer. Yes, no, or you gotta be kidding. But I thank y'all for letting me be here. I couldn't wait. You know, that, like I said, the best talk was last night about 2 o'clock. I had it all figured out at 2 o'clock last night. You know, everything, and I don't think I've said anything I thought about last night. But that lets you know God's in charge. I love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you again. Appreciate it.
You.